and manner in which such notice was provided in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-6. Specifically, on January 9th, 2024, proper notice was sent to the Courier News and the Star Ledger and filed with the clerk at the Township of Bridgewater and posted on the Municipal Bulletin Board. Please be aware of the Zoning Board of Adjustment policy for public hearings. No new applications will be heard after 9:30 p.m., and no new testimony will be taken after 10 p.m. If you're able, please rise for the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Good evening, Roger. If we could have a roll call, please. Here.
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 Here. Here. All right, thank you. At this time, I'm going to open up the meeting to any members of the public that would like to speak on any land use issue that isn't on our agenda tonight. All right, seeing none, I'm going to close that portion. And before we move on, I want to thank Roger for all his work. You've been a great pleasure, a great asset to Bridgewater, and you've also just been a very nice person to do business with. And I want to thank you. This is going to be your last zoning board meeting with us, and I'm kind of bummed out, but I know you're going to greener pastures, so to speak, to Summit. So their gain is certainly our loss, and I want to wish you the best. And for any reason you want to come back, I'm the first one to make the phone call for you. So Roger, from the bottom of my heart and from the board, thank you so much and everything you've done.
Thank you, Roger.
Thank
you, Roger.
All right, God bless and good luck to you, sir. All right, we have some minutes. I batched them up into two batches. Roger, I have April 9, April 23rd, May 28th, and June 11th. And based on the corresponding attendance, I have Foose, Widely, Sweeney, Amin, and Kulak eligible to vote. I've already given you some changes from Mrs. Amin. We had one additional small change. Mrs. Amin had April 23rd, page 3, paragraph 7. Rich, we wanted to add yearly into that?
You see where it has the number, I'm sorry, it just says,
The number
the
7.
number 7 is there, the word years should be after 7.
And I'm going to ask for any changes, additional changes from the board, and if none, entertain a motion, please.
I move we accept all of those.
All right, again, that was April 9, April 23rd, May 28th, and June 11th.
Right. Second.
All right, that was, unfortunately, Mr. Bongiorno, you're not eligible. I have Foose, Widely, Sweeney, Amin, and Kulak eligible to vote. So I have a motion from Mr. Widely.
Second.
There's Mr. Sweeney making the second. Yes.
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 All right. And the second batch I have is June 23rd and July 9th. Eligible to vote, Foose, Widely, Seacat, Amin, and Gajewski. I'll take a motion if there's no changes.
No changes, I move.
All right, do I have a second, please?
Second.
Mr. Gajewski. Mr. Gajewski. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
All right, thank you. We have no resolutions, right, Rich?
Correct.
All right. Could you take us real quick through our cases, where we're at, and what's coming up?
So, jumping over the 3 that are on the agenda for tonight, we have carried the application for 821 Bridgewater LLC, the Jewish Community Center. That's being carried without further notice to
22nd next month.
So October 22nd. We're carrying over the Bridgewater Realty LLC, which is the Starbucks application. There'll be new notice on that since there's significant plan changes. That's being carried to November 12th. Application for CX Towers is being carried with there'll be new notice, and that's being carried to November 12th as well. Application for Belly Holdings also will be on new notice, carried to December 10th. And the 1200 Route 22 Land Investors and 1200 Route 22 LLC Holding is also being carried. There'll be new notice on that as well, carried to December 10th.
Great, thank you for the update. We have 3 cases on the agenda tonight, 2 of which are going to be heard. Mr. Silbert, I think you're 2 out of the 3. So no 950 Sunset Ridge, Chen?
Yes, that's correct. I had spoken with Nancy and Roger about carrying it with notice to the October 8th hearing. It's a fence variance. It's an existing fence, so I'll work it out with the other applicant scheduled that evening to try to see if they'll let us go before.
All right, and so we have you with Sabella?
Yes.
Okay, and that's going to be 1377 Miners Drive, correct?
Correct.
All right, welcome.
Start off by saying good evening to the board, members of the public, board professionals. My name is Michael Silbert. I'm an attorney from the law firm Deep Investigation located in Warren County, New Jersey. I have the privilege of representing Mr. and Mrs. Stella this evening. Before I start, I would just like to thank Roger from the applicant side or the developer end. He's been a pleasure to work with
confirm notice was adequate. It was served timely and published timely, both on September 12th, so the board has jurisdiction.
You know the ropes here, Mr. Silbert. You're getting good at this. Let's swear everybody in.
If everyone would, and our folks too, please, if you will stand, raise your right hand. So you solemnly swear the testimony you will give to this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Yes. And just my left to right, for the record.
Catherine Sarmat, Township Planner and Zoning Board Member.
Thank you, everyone.
Mr. Stires, obviously, appeared before this board many times, but just provide the board with your professional background and educational credentials to qualify as an expert in engineering.
Sure. Graduate of Lehigh University, 1985. Received my professional engineering and planning license in 1990. Started out working with my family firm for 18 years. And since 2003, I've had my own firm in Bridgewater and work in the basically the surrounding communities in land use development.
Good to see you again. We obviously accept you.
So I obviously gave a brief introduction about this application, but why don't you kind of reiterate some of the existing, or speak to some of the existing conditions, speak about what you're attempting to do by this application.
Sure. So the properties on Miners Drive to the west is Washington Valley Road. You go down the hill to Sunset Lake, which is about a block and a half from the subject property. So everything pretty much slopes from west to east, including the subject property. There is a single-family residence, a driveway off of Miners with a garage entrance. The light tan is the existing dwelling. The blue is a above-ground pool. And the dark tan currently is a large deck in the rear of the property. And then the rest of the site, with the exception of the shed in the back, is undeveloped or landscaped green area.
Mr. Stires, not to interrupt, but you're referring to rendered plan, we're going to mark that A1.
Sure, it's entitled Rendering Variance Plan with today's date, 9/24/24. It's somewhat of a compilation of everything that was submitted. There are no changes to this plan from what was submitted, but it is a compilation of a couple plan sets, so I can get everything
Mark it A1.
in front of you. Thank you. So briefly, I'll talk about the proposal, then we'll get into the variances and the nonconformities. The existing deck will be removed, as well as the above-ground pool. And then what we will do is we're creating a rectangular addition on the east side and the north side of the existing dwelling for a 372 square foot, one-story addition. The deck will be basically replaced in kind, with the exception of the stairs are being moved a little bit to the north. So there's a slight expansion. Right now, the steps are internal to this darker brown area, and the new steps will be to the north of the proposed deck. So the deck will basically replace a portion of the existing deck, and then the one-story addition will be to the east of that. The pool will come down for construction, and the applicant has requested that that be allowed to be replaced at some future date. So, you know, it is an above-ground pool. Pools do not count as impervious coverage, so I think from that standpoint, we shouldn't have to come before this board again for additional variances. With respect to The nonconformities, I'll go through the planning and zoning review on page 4. As Michael had indicated, the minimum lot area is required in the R20 is 20,000 square feet. We're at 17,441, so that's a pre-existing nonconformity. The minimum side or front yard setback required is 50 feet. 38.6 exists. Again, that's an existing nonconformity. Minimum side yard total. Both side yards minimum have to add up to 50 feet. We're at 40.3. Again, there's no change to that, and then it's a pre-existing nonconformity. With respect to the maximum improved lot coverage, 25% is allowed, which is 4,360 square feet. We're slightly under that existing, and the proposed goes to 26.46, which is basically the 380-some square foot addition, and a variance is requested for that maximum lot coverage exceedance. And then we have the maximum FAR, floor area ratio, is 0.16, which is 2790. We're at 0.149. We're just below the allowable. And with the addition, we're at 0.171, which is 2982 square feet. Again, we're requesting a D4 variance for the FAR. And then lastly, for the shed in the rear, the minimum side yard is 20 feet. We're at 15.59. And the minimum rear yard is 20, and we're at 5.18 off of the rear line. And they are pre-existing nonconformities. I can tell you that the shed, as it's located, there is a treat area on the adjacent properties. It's also in the rear of the adjacent properties, and it seems to be a very logical place for the placement of that shed without relocating it internally to meet those 20-foot setback requirements. So there was a issue regarding the second paragraph in page 5 relating to the inconsistency between the 675 square feet that is shown for the addition, the deck addition on the architectural plans, and then there's a note on our plan that says 266.33 plus or minus, and that is supposed to indicate elevation of the deck, not the square footage. So my CAD person, who's a little bit younger, missed the elevation of that. And so that it's basically taking a step down from the finished floor of the building onto the deck. With respect to drainage, the third paragraph, I've taken a site visit. So the front drainage in front of, or the south of the existing dwelling basically runs, like I said, east to west. There is a drainage outfall. The driveway comes in off of Minor and slopes towards the house. So there's a trench drain along the garage, and that filters out and runs across the large expansive green area on the adjoining property. The drainage to the rear, again, it slopes east to west and funnels along the property line between the two houses down to the it's Sunset Lakeview Drive, and then it gets picked up in a storm system that runs down to the Sunset Lake. So I think the question is whether or not stormwater is required. In my opinion, I think this is a slight increase. It's 382 square feet. There is a existing deck there that does not count. And we're proposing to add the addition, which is going to be on stilts. So there'll be some, ground under, and unfortunately, there will be no rain hitting that ground. But if the board deems it necessary, we could introduce a dry well to pick up the roof leaders from that addition if deemed necessary. No, there are no trees being removed. Other than just lighting at the entrance ways, there's no spotlights proposed or anything like that. There was one, back to the stormwater, there was a comment on whether we can reduce any impervious. I did have a discussion with the applicant about shaving the east side of the paved driveway, and he had just installed Belgian block curb and expanded that slightly so that he had proper width for 2 vehicles in there. So he does not want to shave that back to the condition that it was in, and then have issues with 2 cars trying to fit in front of that house. Other than that, if you look at the property, there's very minimal impervious coverage waste that could be brought back to a green area to compensate for the addition.
Regarding miscellaneous comment number 1, we did receive a planning department report dated September 20th, 2024, and there were no comments from any of the other departments, including fire officials.
That's correct. Yeah, on then items 2 through 7, we have no problem complying with those comments.
You're good? All right. I have a very quick question. I know Sunset Lake has a homeowners association. How does this application work with them? Do they get any kind of say in this? I just want to make sure that we don't upset them in any way, shape, or form, and kind of keep them appraised of what's happening. What's the lay of the land with the homeowners?
So I was not aware it was part of the homeowners association. However, we can stipulate to agreeing as a condition of approval, we'll ensure that we follow any type of approval process required, but I don't represent, I'm not familiar with what the approval process would be. I don't know if Mr. Sabella would know. He's looked into it.
Homeowners Association action on Sunset Lake is optional.
Oh, interesting, okay.
It's just whether you're a member of the Lake Association or not.
Okay, so this wouldn't have any,
Part of the roads or, anything like that. It's just whether you're into the lake or not. So if you can buy into that or you don't have to.
all right, fair enough.
Well, Michael, you could get a letter of no interest from the association as a condition.
Sure. I mean, I don't even, if it's optional,
I don't know if it's just the club itself. It's not necessarily homeowners
Yeah.
association. Certain lots can you buy into the membership.
Because we had an application 2 months ago, and she was the president of the homeowners association. She actually had a letter that stipulated that they had no.
we can do that.
Okay,
Absolutely.
all right, thank you.
Sure.
Other board questions?
Assuming that there is a letter to be.
Right, just as long as you let them know that this is happening, I think the board will be fine. All right, I'm going to open up to members of the public that would like to question Mr. Stiers on his engineering testimony. All right, seeing none, thank you, Mr. Stiers. Oh, I'm sorry, our board professionals, right?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Just a couple of quick clarifications, Dave. The proposed addition that we're talking about, was your testimony that addition lies in an existing disturbed area by way of the existing deck?
Yes.
Is there any new disturbance, or does the footprint of the exterior improvements expand beyond where the deck was?
It does not expand, I mean, obviously, we'll have some temporary construction outside of that footprint. but
Sure.
no.
But no permanent disturbance beyond that. And the addition itself is going to be, it's going to be on, like cantilevered out on whatever you want to call them, stilts, piles, okay. And you described the drainage a little bit, and I guess the applicants, the homeowners have put in curbing along the driveway, and the driveway slopes back towards the house, correct? And that gets captured by a trench drain that gets daylighted to the left side of the property, the west side?
Yes,
That just drains into the lawn area?
yes.
And where the new addition is proposed to be situated, where will the runoff from that addition now drain to? I would assume it's gonna have roof leaders that drain down to grade?
Yeah, so as I explained earlier, the front portion goes south of the house on the corner,
Okay,
and the north or the rear of the property slopes west to east and down in between the corner house and the next house over.
so based on the existing grades and your site visit, the runoff from the addition will not flow directly to the home, to the side, to the corner lot on Lakeview? I want to make sure it's not
Right,
going to flow to that house,
it does not.
and it makes its way around that home to
Down to
the,
Lakeview Drive.
which was, I think, just improved by the township, if I'm not mistaken. We just paved that,
There's, the next one parallel to Miners,
right?
heading down to the lake is done.
Yeah,
I don't believe Lakeview has been done,
okay,
but they may be slated. I mean, those
Yeah.
guys are all over the place.
yeah. As we know. Okay, and no new exterior lighting, no trees
Just,
being
yeah, just the
removed, the
lighting
normal.
sconces at the
Okay.
doorway.
All right, very good. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're good? Okay. All right, that's it.
Call our second witness, Mr. Daniel Fortunato, who's the architect. Fortunato, if you wouldn't mind, for the board and the public, putting forth on the record your educational background and professional credentials to date before we qualify you as an expert in the field of architecture.
Okay, I'm a graduate of Ohio State with a bachelor's in industrial design and a graduate of Drexel University and a bachelor's in architecture. I'm licensed in New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania. I've been licensed in New Jersey for close to 30 years now. I had done many projects in Bridgewater. I haven't appeared in front of this board before.
Okay. Board accepts you as an architectural expert.
And, Fortunato, I know you'll go into the architectural style of the addition, but I made a representation in my opening about the real driving force behind the application, the interior stairs. I was just wondering if you could start off by talking about that and what you've observed, speak to the stairs.
Yeah, the stairs were a big issue with the homeowner. They were a very unsafe set of stairs. They were installed or built on probably an addition that was done many years ago to a second level, which is sort of a half story over the part of the house that we're adding on to. The stairs, when I say unsafe, they're very steep, open risers, just unsafe for his children, and that was sort of the driving force on this addition. The addition itself, we did not increase the height of the building at all, of the existing building, nor the new addition. It's all at the same elevation. And that's part of the reason why we have the design of the high family room ceilings. We had to get the headroom in for the stairs coming from that second level down to the first level. We're removing the old stairs completely. So the new stairs will be extending into the new addition, which again is the main feature of this project. The foundation, I just want to touch on that a little bit because I heard some comments on it. This is a raised addition, meaning that the deck that was there, built typical deck style, columns and a deck above grade. We're not using any of the deck structure, but we are keeping it the same elevation. So there will be new footings and structure posts that will be installed underneath the new addition. We're not going to be really using any of the footings that are there, nor the posts. The wood is all going to be removed. The deck itself is in very poor condition. Again, that's why we're replacing it. We're going to be replacing it with composite decking. And then the structure itself is not increasing any more footprint than what is there right now. So we basically virtually built right over the old deck, but even though it's not there. The space itself, we have 12-foot high ceilings up to about a 16-foot ridge height in the middle. Very tall windows and a very open feel to the family room. But again, a lot of that was driven by the height of the roof that we needed to get the stair clearance in from that second level to the first level.
And then, Mr. Stiers testified on this, and it's engineering comment, but the area under the deck, of course, will remain impervious material.
Yeah, that's correct. It's going to be, basically, it's just dirt and rocks under there right now. There's no intention on doing anything underneath the deck other than having it as it is today. It's going to essentially just be a raised structure. You can walk under there if you want.
Board questions for Mr. Fortunato? Board professionals?
Just one question, Mr. Chairman. We heard from Dave's testimony that there were a couple of slight discrepancies between the engineering plan and the architectural plan. I noticed that that goes a little bit further as far as the FAR and the lot coverage numbers from your respective plans. Is one of the plans going to govern as far as what is the correct?
Yes. What we're going to do is I'm stripping the impervious coverage and all the numbers off of my plans.
Okay.
So when they get submitted for permits, we're going to rely on the
So
engineer.
then we're going to rely on the engineer's plan for, and that's what we heard testimony on previously as far as what the variances are. Those are the accurate numbers. Okay.
If I could just add to that, when I submitted the final submission, which is 24 copies, the board might have the copy that I'm referring to, which do not have any
Yeah.
bulk standards, versus the initial submission. It was perhaps my mistake that I had
Okay.
submitted a draft, not a draft, that was signed and sealed, but we spoke about those
Okay.
inconsistencies internally and decided to remove it from the architectural.
So, perfect. That's all I needed to know. I wanted to make sure we had the right numbers for the record. Good. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Members of the public, questions on architectural testimony? All right, seeing none. Thank you.
Thank you.
So our final witness this evening is Mr. Matthew Flynn. Matthew Flynn, professional planner, and I'd like to have him qualified as such. So if you can please place on the record your educational background and qualifications.
Sure, my education comes from Rutgers. I have my master's degree in planning and public policy. I have my professional planner's license in the state of New Jersey, as well as my AICP license, which is the national licensure for planners. This is my first time appearing before this board. However, I have been before over 100 boards across the state.
All right, welcome, Mr. Flynn. We accept you as an expert planner.
Thank you, sir. So I think I can just cut to the chase here. Obviously, we heard that we are talking about one tax lot that is undersized per zoning at about 17,441 square feet. The minimum required lot area is 20,000 square feet in the R20 zone. We are proposing the addition that we saw in our engineering plans, in our architectural plans, as well as the new and replaced deck component as well. We heard the motivation behind the addition, and we obviously saw that it is going to blend in with the existing architecture and I think complement the building that's out there today. So again, just to cut right to the chase here, we are requesting a D4 FAR variance. 0.16 is the requirement in the zone. We're proposing 0.17, actually 0.171, which basically in terms of square feet, we're talking about 2,982 square feet, whereas what we're allowed is 2,790 square feet. So it's approximately 192 square feet over in terms of the FAR. As we heard from our architect and our engineer, the proposed addition is actually not going to expand the development footprint per se. It's going to sit right where the existing deck ends. And I think what is left of that deck is actually going to be made more private, seeing that the addition is actually going to provide somewhat of a buffer enclosing the outdoor usable deck area. So in terms of the municipal land use law, the purposes of zoning, I think that the project promotes several of the purposes set forth therein, including Purpose A, promotion of the general welfare. We heard that this is going to improve the living conditions, not just for the current tenant, but also any future tenants that might live here in the future. With new, safer stairs, this obviously could set a precedent in the town to improve properties thereabout. And the addition, like I said, does create a buffer, which I think improves the outdoor usable space on the lot. Purpose G, variety of uses in appropriate locations. Again, this is a permitted use that the applicant is investing in, modernizing it, making it more viable for the continued use of the existing dwelling. Purpose I, desirable visual environment. I think we can look to the fact that we are not expanding the development footprint. We are preserving the open space that we have out there today. We're complementing and responding to the existing architecture and the existing deck on the property. Purpose M, efficient use of land. Again, taking advantage of the existing development footprint, not getting any closer to any property lines, not bringing the building height any higher, or anything like that. I think really the bulk of the D4 variance comes into play with the negative criteria. We look at whether there's any substantial detriment to the public or to the zone. In terms of any detriment to the public, again, the addition is in the rear of the dwelling. It's not going to affect the streetscape. The addition is over the existing development footprint, not getting any closer to any property lines. When we look at the location of the addition in terms of the relationship with any neighboring properties, I would say there is going to be no adverse impact. We're not going any further back than one of the dwellings on the right. And on the left, that dwelling is actually set much further back than ours, so we're not impeding on any use or enjoyment of any of our neighboring properties. The height is actually well below the maximum at 24 feet, whereas we're allowed to go up to 35 feet. And in terms of impacts to zoning, I would just mention that since the minimum requirement of lot area is 20,000 square feet, the minimum anticipated FAR in the zone is actually 3,200 square feet. As I said, the FAR that we're proposing is only 2,982 square feet. So when we look at what the zone actually anticipates by sheer math, we are in line with that. So I think all of that goes towards the D4 FAR variance. In terms of the C variance, the only new variance we're requesting is the lot coverage, proposing 26.46%, whereas 25% is permitted. Again, just like the FAR variance, I think it's a de minimis increase over what's proposed, or what's allowed, rather. And like the engineer testified to, when we look at what's out there today, not expanding the footprint where we have the existing deck, what's going to be underneath this addition is actually going to be grass, dirt area. While rainwater can't fall directly on that land, it can flow freely through it. So I think that the board can look at that as a mitigating factor in terms of the lot coverage. I think that can be justified by the C2 balancing test, whereby the benefits that I've mentioned for the D4 FAR variance carry forth, substantially outweigh any negatives. Again, it's really taking advantage of existing architecture, no adverse impacts to our neighbors or to the zone, really just an appropriate and modest upgrade to an existing dwelling. And with that, I would say that all the relief being sought is not only de minimis, but it's also appropriate and really will not have a substantial detriment to the neighborhood.
Just adding to that, the pre-existing nonconformities, which you definitely touched upon, the proposed addition, in your opinion, is not going to exacerbate any of those pre-existing nonconformities?
Correct, and just to the lot area I mentioned, the front setback was mentioned before me. Obviously, this addition is in the rear of the building, not affecting the view from the front. And the side setback is going to remain the same, which again is a benefit that we get by putting the addition on the existing deck area.
With respect to the accessory shed, Mr. Stiers testified that he believes it's the
Absolutely, yeah. What we have on this lot is a basically open rear yard area. And then around the perimeter in the back, we do have some trees and shrubs. And those trees and shrubs actually buffer the existing accessory structure. So I think that is the ideal spot, as opposed to bringing it in where we might have a more open area.
Board questions on planning testimony. Mr. Flynn? Yeah, go for it, yeah.
Just on the shed, can we have a stipulation that it stays where it is?
No bigger and stays where it's at.
No change at all?
The board is good. Professionals?
No question.
All right, members of the public, questions on Mr. Flynn's planning testimony? All right, seeing none.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Unless the board has any questions for Mr. Costello, that would conclude our application. Just note, and Mr. Dyer mentioned this, but should this application be approved, I would just ask that the resolution state that the applicant would be permitted to continue having a pool on his property. I believe there'll be a new above-ground pool, but just wanted to make sure there wouldn't be any issues with respect to that in the future should the board grant approval.
Yeah, provided that it's in a municipal location.
Of course.
Otherwise, we'll see you again.
Yes.
And that's it? You wrapped up? All right. At this time, members of the public that would like to speak for or against this application, welcome to come up and make a statement. All right, seeing none, we're going to close that portion. We're going to open up deliberations. Thank you, Mr. Silbert. Mr. Widley, your thoughts, please.
It's a pretty straightforward application. I have no problem with it. Nice, short presentation. You got the point across. I'm in favor of it.
Let's start down to Mr. Vesio. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Sorry for my tardiness.
No problem. You're
Unfortunately,
allowed.
I
New Jersey
am
Transit. We'll write you a
subject to
party note.
commuter railroads. All right, so in the state. Yeah, I think it's a straightforward application. I did listen on the YouTube, so during my tardiness, and I have no further questions.
Thank you. Mr. Kulak.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the application was well presented. We're talking about an increase of living space, and part of the justification was to allow for the appropriate construction of the staircase, which had been described by the architect, and bringing that up to code, plus you get the additional living space. I think it's a really good expansion of the property. It's architecturally, it's pleasing, and I would approve this.
Thank you. Mr. Seacat.
I agree with Mr. Kulak. The request appears to be very modest, and I would support the application.
Thank you. Mr. Gajewski.
Yeah, I would agree with my fellow board members. I don't think it's a huge ask here, and it's going to be a nice addition to that property.
Thank you. Mr. Bongiorno.
I agree with the other board members. I'm in favor of it.
Thank you. I, too, am in agreement. I'm going to vote in favor. Mrs. Amin, your thoughts, please.
Simple addition, and I'm in favor of the application.
Thank you. Mr. Sweeney.
I also am in favor of the application. It's a hardship case, undersized lot. In fact, if you take a look at the square footage that's proposed for lot coverage and floor area, if you compare those numbers with the required 20,000 square foot lot size, you come up with a lot coverage and a floor area ratio that's less than what's required in the zone.
Thank you, sir. Get it.
I'm in favor as well, especially with the safety aspect that the stair construction would add in keeping the kids safe.
Thank you, Chris. All right, sounds like the will of the board is to approve this case. And Rich, can you take us through the stipulations?
We spoke about a couple of steps and conditions, of course, whatever's in the planners and engineers report. In addition, or not in addition, already in those reports, but area under the deck shall remain as a pervious material. You'll obtain either the association's approval or a letter of no interest. Will conform the architectural and engineering plans, sounds like just by eliminating the chart on the architect's plan. The shed will not be made any larger or relocated, otherwise, to be at least, it will not be relocated closer to the lot lines.
Will not increase any
And applicant can continue to have a pool in the rear yard as long as it's in a permissible location and no other variance is required for it.
Thank you.
Was there a dry well being?
It was proposed, and Bill spoke to it. Bill, are you comfortable without a dry well in this case?
I am, Mr. Chairman. I think, given the testimony we heard, I'm comfortable with not having a dry well.
All right, very good. You good, Mr. Gieske? Great, thank you. All right, with everything here, going to open up to the board for a motion, please.
I move.
Mr. Widley, do I have a second? That was a motion to approve, yes?
Yes.
All right, good.
With the
Roger?
conditions.
With the conditions.
Who seconded?
Mr. Bongiorno. Yes.
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 Thank you, Mr. Silbert. Good seeing you, sir. We'll see you in October for the other case. All right. All right, have a good night. All right, Mr. Sullivan, hi there. All right, next up, we're going to do 233 Shepherd Avenue, represented by Mr. Sullivan. Good evening.
John Sullivan, representing the applicant, Sharif Shalaby.
I can tell you the notice is in order, proper form, served by certified mail on August 29th, published on August 30th, so the board has jurisdiction.
So I'm representing Mr. Shalaby. He is the owner of the property located at 233 Shepherd Avenue. That is Lot 9 and Lot 3704 on the tax map. And we're here for bulk variance approval.
Sir, I'm sorry, I need you to speak into a microphone. You gotta get close. You can use the handheld one if you want to speak. Thank you.
This is for bulk variance approval to allow an addition to the property. We do have an undersized lot, and it's further complicated by being a corner lot, right on the corner of Park Avenue and Shepherd Avenue. The zoning district here is the R20, and the property is currently improved with a single-family dwelling. What we want to do is go ahead and put an addition on this property, and that's going to serve two purposes. The first purpose is to expand the living area for Mr. Shalaby and his family, and the second is to relocate the driveway and the garage from the busy Shepherd Avenue onto the side street Park Avenue. So those are the two main driving factors for this particular application. The plans that we have submitted are the architectural plan prepared by Frank Coletto, and that's dated June 22nd of 2023, as well as a variance plan prepared by Valerie Roginski, dated May 8th of 23, and last revised April 1st of 24. We do have some variances here. We have some existing conditions, which include lot area. Because we're a corner lot, we're required to have 24,000 square feet, and there's only 15,271 square feet existing and proposed. In terms of lot width, again, because we're a corner lot, we need 120 feet of lot width, and we have only 100 feet as existing and proposed.
Mr. Sullivan, could you just pull the mic a little bit closer? Thank you. Is the green light on in front of you?
It is, yes.
Okay.
The other existing condition is the front yard setback to Shepherd Avenue. 50 feet is required and 44.6 feet is existing and proposed. The new variances are the front yard setback to Park Avenue. 50 feet is required, 30 feet is existing, and after the addition, it would be 20 feet proposed. Finally, is impervious coverage, 25% is required, 24.5% is existing, and we are proposing 26.2%, which is essentially 183 square feet above what is permitted. Our witnesses tonight are, we're going to start with Mr. Shalaby, and then we have Frank Coletto. He's going to wear two hats today as both the architect and a professional planner. So if I may, I would begin with Mr. Shalaby.
All right, why don't we swear everybody in as well?
Yes.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give to this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? And if you would, from my left to right, all your names for the record, please. Your name?
Frank Mileto, M-I-L-E-T-O.
Thank you.
Ms. Shalaby, you are the owner of the property located at 233 Shepherd Avenue,
Yes,
and you've owned that since June of 2022, is that correct?
yes.
And who do you reside with?
My wife and my 4 kids.
And your 4 children, you said?
Yes.
And what are the ages of your children?
I have 8 and 6 and 4 and 2.
And right now, the property is improved with a single-family dwelling, correct?
Yes.
And as I understand it, that's a 1.5-story?
Yes.
And there is a garage. That's a one-car or a two-car garage?
1 car garage,
And how many bedrooms do you have?
2 bedroom,
And how many bathrooms?
1.
And can you just describe the remaining rooms that are in the house, kitchen, family room, what else?
We have like a dining area downstairs, but upstairs is only 2 bedroom, and the bathroom is downstairs, and the kitchen and the living area.
And you have a basement?
No.
You have an attic?
No.
Proposed to construct the addition in accordance with the plans that we proposed?
Yes.
And that would include the two-car garage, is that correct?
Yes.
And it would also provide for some additional living area.
Yes.
If the application is approved and the addition is constructed, how many bedrooms would there be?
4,
And how many bathrooms?
3.
And kind of explain in my opening statement, can you explain to the board why you wish to
I've been here for like 3 years, and I love the town, and my family is growing. Now I have 4 kids. My 2 daughters, she live in 1 bedroom, and me and my son used to be in the crib, but now he's growing up. So me and my son, me and my wife in the same room, and we have only 1 bathroom, and we do love the town. My daughter go to the Adamsville School, but she loves it so much, and she loves her teachers and her friends. And my son is enrolled in speech therapy programs to help him develop speech. And he's been for 1 year since he's 3 years old. He's improving. He's doing a lot of improving. So we have to stay in the town so he can finish his programs. That's his 2nd year this year. And we love the town. And right now we are overcrowded with the space. And that's all.
And we also propose as part of this to relocate the driveway from Shepherd Avenue to Park Avenue?
Yes.
And the garage would then face Park Avenue?
Yes.
And so Shepherd Avenue is a busy street?
Very. Yep. Very crowded. Yep.
And would it be fair to say that during morning rush hour and even afternoon rush hour, you have traffic backing up
From the stop sign by the Mountain Avenue all the way back to like 2 blocks down.
And is it difficult to get in and out of your driveway during those hours?
Very, because it's a 2-way street, and when the traffic stop in 1 lane, that's create like a blind spot for the opposite direction, so I cannot make a turn because I couldn't see the car coming from the other lane. And it's happening all day, you can say that, especially when the school starts. And it start to get busy and busy every day.
And Park Avenue has much less traffic?
Much less, yes.
And you feel this is a safer alternative for you and your family?
Yes, very much. Especially with my kids, they have like 2 and 4 years old. When we get inside our driveway, it's not safe for us. They always rushing to open the door. The mom should always have curiosity about, what the Shepherd have a lot of traffic and a lot of activity going on. Yep.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have for Mr. Shepard.
All right, thank you. Board questions?
Can I get one clarification? How many bedrooms in total
Right now, the existing 2 bedroom,
for the proposed?
and there was 4 bedroom and 3 bathroom.
Okay. Does the plan show 5, 1 on the first floor?
On the first floor, yes. So,
So it's 5 total?
yes, we're gonna be 5 bedroom and 3 bathroom.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And you have one bathroom right now?
Yes.
And 2 daughters?
You just made his case. Board professionals.
No, I don't have any questions right now.
Just one question. The property now has, I see it has an in-ground pool, and it looks like a paver patio around the pool. Is that going to stay? You're going to keep that after, if this is approved and the addition is built, that pool will remain?
What do you mean? Yes, because it's kind of like a narrow to the entrance of the house. So it's not like really wide. It's going narrow. The pool is 32
Of the house. And one of the variances that you're requesting is a lot coverage, which is the amount of hardscape on the ground. Is there any opportunity for you to remove some of the existing hardscape with this project?
the existing driveway. We're gonna remove the existing driveway.
You're going to remove the existing driveway, and you want to put a new driveway on the side off of Park Ave, right?
Yep.
And do you have any other lot coverage on the ground that you can remove as part of this? Or do you need everything else that's there?
There is nothing left. I mean, there's nothing more than that. Like it's the house, it's the flat slab.
Right.
We have no basement, and there's the swimming pool, and the deck in the front of the swimming pool go to the door. So
And the patio around the pool you use?
the patio is very the frame of the pool.
Okay.
The patio is exactly the same shape of the pool and going like a triangle to the house. So we don't have anything extra.
No extra? Okay, very good. Thank you.
Bill, could you confirm that Shepherd Avenue is indeed busier than Park? Just because they don't have a traffic engineer, just want to put it on the record. You know our town's
100%.
roads quite well.
It's
That connects to
very-
Middlesex?
That leads into Middlesex.
All right.
I worked on a project on Shepherd Ave probably in 2006 or 2007, and it was an interesting road project.
And
All the traffic trying to get that road repaved.
and Park Avenue is just a residential side street.
Completely residential. In fact, I think the board had an application, if I'm not mistaken,
Last year?
for a similar home addition last year on Park Ave. So absolutely, I think relocating the driveway over to Park would represent a much safer arrangement, for sure.
Good, thank you. Members of the public that would like to question the property owner on the application? All right, seeing none, thank you.
Yes. I was licensed, I went to New York Institute of Technology, and I became an architect in 1976 and a planner in 1978. Hold the mic up. Loud enough. Buttons on, I'll just be closer and louder.
Perfect, perfect.
Do that. I'm sorry. So I graduated in 1964. However, the military took me for a while during the Vietnam War, and I spent 10 years with them. And then I became an architect in 1976. And then 2 years later, through reciprocity, the Planning Association in New Jersey allowed for reciprocity to become a licensed planner. And I've been doing that ever since 1977 or 8. I'm a former zoning officer for the city of Clifton for 18 years. I was also a zoning officer for Long Valley, where I currently have my residence, and other towns. I'm licensed in New Jersey, current, the planning current, and 28 other states. I do some Asian restaurants, and they take me everywhere. Florida to Georgia. I don't think there's a Chinese restaurant I haven't done in the state of New Jersey.
Well, in that case, we definitely accept you as a professional architect and planner, sir.
Okay, Mr. Valero, you are familiar with the site as well as the neighborhood?
Yes,
And you prepared the plans, the architectural plans that we submitted to the board?
correct.
And could you describe the site and the dwelling as it currently exists?
What's on currently is an existing dwelling. If you look at the submitted plans on page 2, there's a photograph of the existing dwelling. Very modest, 2.5-story house. You all have the plans before you, right? Put 'em up. But it's a small, very small house with a single-car garage attached on one side. And the addition would require removal of the entire roof on the second level and then adding a complete second floor addition over both the existing dwelling and the proposed addition to the existing garage. The purpose of the existing garage is to allow us to, or the client, to enter through Park Avenue versus Shepherd because he explained the traffic is absolutely horrendous there. And he would like it for safety, first of all. Secondly, putting in a 2-car garage is more convenient. He's got also put some storage area on it. And all we had to do was to extend the existing garage 10 feet into that second front yard, which is a real hardship on the property because of the 2 corners on a small lot, an undersized lot. The lot is currently 15,271 square feet, and 24,000 square feet is what's required. We had 24.
Before we get into the planning testimony, can you describe to the board proposed improvements, what that's going to result in terms of living area and the overall style?
Sure. Sure. Well, my opinion, if you look at sheet 1, you're going to see a much improved dwelling.
We're losing your voice a little bit, so if you can get that closer, please. Microphone.
Closer, louder? I'm sorry. On the first sheet is the front as prepared to add the second level and some dormers on the existing roof. All the windows are going to be uniform. There's a stone entry to announce where the front door is and the entry. And it just makes for a very, in my opinion, date house that would blend with the neighborhood. Floor plans on sheet 2. First floor plan, what's crisscrossed to the very left is the addition, the 2-foot addition to the driveway and the garage. And then we have a kitchen, a bathroom on the first floor, a small bedroom in the rear, and then a living area joins with the family room as one big room around the staircase, which goes to the second floor.
And just staying on that page, you've designed the garage, you also allow for some storage space?
Yes, utility room and storage area for lawnmower and that type of thing.
And that was done to
Accommodate.
to the extent that there is no basement?
Correct. And page 3 is the entire addition over the lower structure. It includes 4 bedrooms, master bedroom, and 3 smaller bedrooms. The master bedroom has a 12 by 30 feet. It's really a bedroom and a half. One of the kids are very young, and infant, that area where it's called sitting area, it will be used to have the baby right there in the bassinet while the parents are right close by. And then we have 2 his and hers walk-in closets, a master bathroom, a second bathroom there for the other 3 bedrooms, occupants of the other 3 bedrooms. They all have closets, and that's the second floor. The addition will be all siding, vinyl siding throughout, all matching completely up and down. There is a small deck off the master bedroom, sitting area with a pair of sliding glass doors. If you wanted to go up there and enjoy a little fresh air once in a while. There's no entrance or exit from that deck except to the master bedroom. And that's it. It's in my opinion, brings the dwelling from what it is now to a contemporary, for a contemporary family.
As part of this, between the garage and the driveway, I believe there's space for 4 vehicles to park on site, is that correct?
Yes, yes, they can park in front of the garage doors. There's 20 feet, which is more than adequate for 2 cars.
And then I want to direct your attention to the joint planning and engineering report. First off, I wanted to talk about some of the comments on page 6 and 7. Under engineering number 1, are there going to be any trees removed in order to accommodate this addition?
No.
And you did hear Mr. Burr speak to Mr. Shalaby about the possibility of reducing the overall lot coverage.
Yes, I understood that. And one comment I would have is I know that the area around the pool is a little larger than would be required. We're only over by, I think, about 170 square feet or not, which is really, in my opinion, de minimis. The existing driveway will be eliminated, so that brings it down to that small amount of square footage. The other point is the pavers, I don't know if they're exactly the kind of pavers that do take water. They do take a percentage of water, and that's really the purpose of ground coverage, is to allow for drainage and not having too much surface, paved surface. So I think it would, I know it will not create any detriment to any of the surrounding areas. The lot, to describe it, runs from Shepherd uphill to the backyard. It comes down from the back property line down towards Shepherd and over towards Park. So that all the drainage goes to the public street, both Park and Shepherd.
So none of it's running off the neighboring property?
Not at all. None of it.
And would it, in your opinion, would it continue to run that same way away from the neighboring property?
No reason not to.
And what are you doing with the levers?
They will all be piped out to the curb, street curbs.
And is there a catch basin in the area?
I didn't research that. I just assumed there would be because it's a finished street. I didn't do the engineering, but it will all be out to the street.
And then the other comments that are contained in the report, we were able to comply with?
Sure, absolutely. They were all positive comments, in my opinion. Thank you.
Okay, if we could move on to your planning testimony, perhaps you could start by describing the variances, what's existing and what's
Well, the existing variance is that of the size of the lot. The lot is substandard both in square foot area and in dimensions. It was an existing lot. We didn't lose any of it or gain anything. We just, it's an existing condition that has been there, was built that way, and it will remain that way. That's the part of the hardship that we have, is that in zoning, and I've done zoning ordinances in various municipalities, when you have a substandard lot like that, to apply the same setbacks, coverages, and restrictions as you would if you had a conforming lot of 24,000 square feet makes sense, it's easy. But to impose on a substandard lot like this is where the hardship comes in, and where zoning boards make exceptions, hopefully, to allow it to encroach on these setbacks, as long as they don't create any detriment to the surrounding properties. That's the whole purpose of zoning, is to make sure that your activity does not disrupt the peace and tranquility of your neighbors or the neighborhood or the municipality. And this will have absolutely no negative impact on anybody, only the positives. The positives are that it will be an
Before we get that, you had mentioned two of the existing variance conditions. There's a third one with regard to front yard setback for Shepherd, is that correct?
yes, existing.
Existing. And then would you just describe very quickly the two newly created variances?
Two newly created ones would be on Park. Park required, for it, because it's a corner lot, requires 50 feet of setback. It didn't have 50 feet, it only had 30 feet existing again. And in order to accommodate the two-car garage coming in from Park, we had to make the garages 20 feet deep in order to fit a car. Cars are a legal parking space for a vehicle is 9 by 18, and these would be 20 feet deep.
You speak up.
Vehicles. And also, the driveway would be 20 feet, where that would also be parked behind it as permitted under the residential site improvement standards, that you can double park as long as it's your own car, and they can use it for company.
And the last variance is the impervious that we've already discussed a bit.
Yes.
So could you explain to the board, under both the C1 and the C2, the justification for the variances?
Sure. Well, the C1 is an obvious one as far as I'm concerned. With the size of the lot is restricting the meeting the ordinance. The C2 is one where the benefits will outweigh the detriment. There'll be no detriment. Variances that we're requesting, it does not negatively affect
Mr. Mileta, we're losing you a little bit with that microphone.
municipality or any of the surrounding area. So it's the benefits absolutely outweigh any detriment under the C2 zoning ordinance.
So the hardship is that the lot is undersized, and it's also a corner lot having two front yards?
Correct.
And then with regard to benefits outweighing the detriments, could you explain what you see as benefits?
Well, the benefits of the safety. That's the safety of the owner. He described it very clearly that it is absolutely difficult to exit onto Shepherd, especially with the driveway just being a back-out driveway. There's no K-turn on the street or on the property. In order to turn a vehicle around, you got to either back in or back out. One or the other has to be done. There's no way to turn the car around there. So the good solution, I thought, would be to get rid of that driveway, bring cars in from Park, and be much safer for everybody, the people that visit that area and the owner of the property.
And would you agree that a benefit would also be an aesthetic upgrade?
Yes, the property will be much improved, and that's a purpose of good planning, is that you improve the appearance of the building, and yes, it's a benefit.
And you believe that it also advances the purpose of providing an appropriate population density in an appropriate location?
Yes, it's a residential zone, it's a residential use of the property, and all we're doing is upgrading it to current living standards. The old days, they'd raise a family of 5 or 6 in a Cape Cod and one bathroom. Those days are gone. It's not healthy, it's not good, but it was the only thing they could do. Today's living standards, we brought them up to those adequate bathrooms, adequate bedroom sizes, not too many people in one bedroom, and that type of thing. It's a big improvement. Absolutely. Windows will be egress windows into the bedrooms, which are much larger than normal the existing windows that are there now. And the safety of having all those egress windows. Plus, we're going to have a smoke detectors because it's not a renovation. This is a second build of the house.
And do you believe there's any substantial detriment to either the public good or a substantial impairment to the intent and purpose of the zoning plan and zoning ordinance?
Absolutely none. No negative impacts.
All right, thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Board questions on Mr. Milato's architectural and planning testimony?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Please, Mr. Sweeney.
Mileto, the Park Avenue setback, it's currently, well, 50 feet's required, you've got 30, and you're proposing to take that down further to 20 feet. I have to confess, when I was looking at the property, I was surprised that there's only 20 feet, I'm sorry, there's 30 feet there now, and that was going to be reduced further, as I said, to 20 feet. Can you make me feel more comfortable by telling me that there are other homes in the area that have front yard setbacks of just 20 feet, as you're proposing here on Park?
Did not do a study of the surrounding areas, no, but I can tell you, in my experience as a zoning officer in 3 communities over the last 65 years, you have all, this isn't a development of like exact houses. It's not, so there would never be the similarity. Not same, there's different. Every house down that block is different. It was not built does not appear to me to be built as a development, tract development.
So you can't comment on how this proposed 20-foot setback compares with others in the neighborhood, or can you?
I haven't done that.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Please. I have a question about so we're coming pretty close to Park Avenue with the addition, about 20 feet off the property line. Do you know what the distance from the property line to the curb line currently is? To the right-of-way line? So from the property line to the curb line, do you know approximately how far that is from, where the property ends to the roadway edge? Right. 10 more feet, okay. All right, now that we're... Okay. Will that impact at all are there any existing site easements on that on that corner on the property that you know of at this time? Okay. Do you think that the addition would cause any site restrictions from anyone making a right onto Park? Sorry?
It's back from the intersection by 30 feet. No obstructions there. No line of sight would be blocked by that garage.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I'm sorry.
Any other board questions?
To it.
Board, please, Mrs. Amin.
Right now, we have a driveway that comes from Shepherd Avenue into the house, right? When you put the garage facing Park Avenue, with that driveway, the existing driveway will be taken out, right? So the front entrance will be still facing Shepherd Avenue. So you will have to have some kind of a walkway that goes
Yeah, yes, I'm proposing that there would be a walkway from the new driveway, across the front of the house, against the house, to the front.
The second question is, when you remove the asphalt drive that goes into Shepherd Avenue, that area will be covered with grass?
It's what? I'm sorry.
You know, right now, at present, the house has a driveway that comes from Shepherd Avenue. into
Yes,
the garage.
correct.
Okay.
And we're going to get rid of that.
Put the other, the entrance is from Park Avenue, once you put the garage that is facing Park Avenue, right?
Right.
You said that you're going to remove the asphalt driveway that comes at present into the house. Are you going to remove it? Yes, no?
The asphalt driveway on Shepherd, that's going to be removed.
Driveway on Shepherd's going to be
Okay,
eliminated.
what's going to go there?
What will happen to that one is the question.
Yeah, that's going to be lawn, new lawn.
Okay, and the other question she has, the pavers that are going to go to the new driveway?
New driveway could be pavers.
How do you get into the new garage that you're going to put to the side?
I didn't choose a material on the driveway to Park Avenue yet.
Right.
It would probably be a good idea to put pervious.
Okay, well, why don't we make that a stipulation, because it does, yeah, well, Mr. Sullivan, why don't we stipulate that we're going to use a pervious paver in the new driveway from Park to the house, correct?
Yes, we can do that.
Sure. That's a good idea.
Always do you get into the garage?
Yeah, that's why, any other questions?
Driveway going into the garage, right, from the Park Avenue.
Okay.
You good?
Yeah, and then, yeah, the old driveway, when it comes out, it becomes covered with grass or whatever.
And grass, lawn,
The conditions you're going to put.
correct.
Okay, you'll stipulate that the old driveway will be, it'll be a lawn after this, covered with grass?
Yes, we do.
All right, great.
That's included.
All right, let's move on to board professionals.
Thank you. And thank you, Ms. Amin. I think she brought up a lot of the comments I was going to bring up, and I just want to kind of build off of them. There are a number of kind of, I call them housekeeping items in the memo, but they may rise to a different level simply because the new driveway hasn't been shown, depicted on the plans, and neither has the calculation for what that square footage will be. So presently, the asphalt driveway is shown on there's a kind of a tabulation of the existing impervious lot coverage, but not a tabulation of how they arrived at the proposed. So the asphalt, as a matter of housekeeping, the plans should be updated to show the removal of the asphalt driveway. So basically, that should be crossed off. Whatever change to the sidewalk from the front of the house to that new driveway should also be shown and quantified as coverage. And then the new driveway needs to be quantified. So we don't have those calculations. And the impervious coverage has been based on something. The increase that they're seeking the variance for has been based on something, but we never really got a strong or any kind of explanation of what those were. What I would say is that if they are seeking the variance for the 26.2, which is about 4,001 square feet, that they should, whenever the plans are updated, they should, if they're going to seek that variance calculation or that impervious coverage calculation, then they're going to have to stick to it. Whatever they wind up designing on.
We're not going to give a blank check.
No, we're not giving a blank check,
Yeah.
exactly. So 4,001's the number, and they have to back into it. You know, however, they're going to meet that with impervious coverage, whether it means making the sidewalk smaller or the driveway smaller, they're going to have to show it on the revised plans. If this is approved tonight, as a matter of resolution compliance, it's going to be something that Bill and I are going to keep an eye out for.
You okay with that, Mr. Sullivan?
Thank you. The other kind of housekeeping item that I identified was that the zoning chart shows that the home is 1.5 stories and 21.5 feet in height, and that the building height in stories is going to increase from 22 to 2.5 stories, and the height remained at 21.5. The architecturals actually do show the height elevation on one of the sheets, and it shows that it's 32.5. So I'd ask that those plans be updated. They are still in compliance with the height allowance of 35 feet, but they should still show that update on the zoning table. The last thing that I have a question about is that height increase of, 11 feet, is there going to be an attic space? I know we saw a first floor and a second floor plan. What's above the second floor?
Attic,
Unfinished attic?
unfinished attic.
Okay, thank you. And I think that's all I have right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Burr.
No questions, Mr. Chairman. Catherine pretty much captured everything that I was going to raise. Thank you.
Members of the public, questions on architecture and planning testimony? All right, seeing none, back to you, Mr. Sullivan.
It essentially concludes our witness presentation, and I just wanted to try and give a partial answer to Mr. Sweeney's question.
John, if we can get you in the microphone, thanks.
Mr. Sweeney's question about how do we match up to the setbacks on neighboring properties. With regard to Shepherd Avenue, it looks like the neighboring property is roughly 44.5 feet, which is very similar to our setback, and that's the immediate neighbor on Shepherd. If we look at the plan in terms of Park Avenue, first thing I would note is that
At this time, I'd like to open it up to members of the public that would like to speak for or against this application. All right, seeing none, Mr. Sullivan, we're going to close your application. We're going to open up deliberations. Just before we do that, Rich, could you just take us through any stipulations?
Sure, in addition or supplementing the reports, the existing driveway would be removed and replanted with lawn area. The plan would also be amended to extend the walkway to the new driveway. You would use pervious pavers for the construction of the new driveway. And show the calculation for your impervious coverage, including the new driveway and sidewalk area, which amount would not be able to exceed the requested coverage amount in the application. And update the architect's plan to clarify the height calculation. Catherine, is that what you're looking for? Just a clarification on the height calculation?
More so a clarification on the impervious, or showing on the plans the impervious calculation. The height is shown on the architecturals. It just needs to be updated in the zone table to be correct.
You want to add it to the zone table?
Correct.
And that was it.
Rich, can I ask a question? We talked about the existing driveway being replaced with lawn. Can we use a different word than lawn, because in case they want to put shrubs or something, to me, lawn means it has to be all.
Well, it could just be a pervious surface, right?
Yeah, I'd like a different word if we can. Thank you.
Or why don't you open us up on deliberations, Mr. Widley?
Again, I have no problem with the application. It's a hardship. I'm happy you want to stay in Bridgewater and raise your children here. I've been here 31 years now. I love it here. I don't intend to go anywhere. And again, it's an older house. You want to upgrade it to accommodate your family. I don't see, it's a little small right now, based on what the description was. So I'm in favor of the application.
All right, thank you. Start at the other end of the dais, Mr. Dubett.
So having lived in an apartment during COVID with 2 people in 1 bathroom, that was a hardship in and of itself. So 6 people, God bless you. And as far as moving the driveway, that seems like a pretty significant safety upgrade. So I would be in favor of it.
I agree. I think the application represents a significant improvement to the home and also to the neighborhood, especially from a safety perspective, the impact on the home. So I'm in favor of voting in favor of the application.
Thank you. Mrs. Amin. Thank you. The lot's almost 500 feet undersized. It's de minimis, 183 square foot improvement. 2 ladies in 1 bathroom, and you're adventurous. Man, yeah, good job, and I think that's an upgrade in itself. And Shepherd is just, it's a wild street, and getting onto Park, I think, is a much-needed safety enhancement, and I'm going to vote in favor. I wish you a lot of luck. Mr. Bongiorno.
I don't know how you survive with 1 bathroom. That would have made me crazy. Undersized lot, small changes. I think it's going to be an improvement to the neighborhood, and I wish you luck. I'm in favor of the application.
Mr. Gajewski.
Yeah, I think it's definitely an improvement to the neighborhood. I do know that the house directly across the street on Shepherd actually has its driveway on Park as well. I believe it, and the footprint is very similar. I think it's going to be a nice bookend for that area. So I'm in favor.
Thank you. Mr. Seacat.
I agree with a lot of what everybody said. I understand the hardship of an undersized lot. My only concern was the distance of the leading edge of the new driveway to Shepherd Ave. I think it looks to be about 44 feet. Is that coming from I guess a busy street? Anybody turning from Shepherd Ave onto Park, if you're pulling out of the driveway, is that a safety concern? I don't know, because the distance seems a little short to me, but I would still support the application.
Mr. Burr, anything to add on that, maybe to help Mr. Seacat out on a sight line?
It's 44 feet to the right-of-way line. I would say it's probably closer to I don't have a scale with me, but it's probably closer to 58 to 60 feet to the curb line of Shepherd. I don't think you're going to have any sight distance issues. Yeah, folks are going to have to be careful getting in and out of the driveway, but I think there's sufficient, distance there to allow the stop raise safely.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Kulak?
Yeah, I think this is consistent with some of the other approvals the board has made in this neighborhood, especially when we're faced with pre-existing conditions, hardships created by a corner lot, and we have approved other home projects that are similar. I think the safety benefit here far outweighs any minor negative things that we're seeing. So yes, I would be in favor of this project.
Thank you. Mr. Vessia?
Yeah, my primary concern was that driveway now being shifted to Park Avenue and just making sure it didn't interrupt any sort of, site turning distance, views for turning. I did look at the area a little bit. I understand that the house across Shepherd Avenue actually that has a driveway also that exits off onto Park Avenue, and that setback from the curb, actually the sidewalk, from the right-of-way, probably looks up here to be less than 20 feet from my own view. Kind of little disappointed that Mr. Sweeney's questions could not be answered by the planner. Not visiting the site, not understanding what the neighborhood looked like. I really wish we could get that testimony. But overall, I'm in favor of the application. I think it will help the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Based on the deliberations, sounds like the board's will is to approve. And if there's nothing else legally to add here, Rich?
I think we're ready for a motion.
All right, let's entertain a motion.
I move.
All right, Mr. Wiley, motion to approve. Second. All right, Mr. Bongiorno was the second. Yes.
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 All right, Ms. Sullivan, congratulations. Yeah, you got it. All right, that concludes our business tonight. If there's no other board business, again, Roger, I want to thank you for everything. Best of luck in Summit. And Catherine, our next meeting date, do you have that? Help. October 8th is our next meeting, 7 p.m., and we're going to be hearing St. Bernard's.
Sorry. Yes, October 8th, it's the St. Bernard's Church on Route 22.
Okay.
They have a proposed additional mausoleum.
Great, and that's the only case that night?
That is all that's on the agenda right now.
Excellent, thank you very much.
Yeah, Chen was.
Pending their notice.
They're going to renotice, and they're going to let us know.
Correct.
All right, great. If there's no other board business, please.
I move.
Mr. Wiley. Second. And Mr. Bongiorno. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Strange with the two hardships.
Almost the exact same size hardships, too.
You mean
Hi.
This one will be heard from